Alrighty. I almost went chisel plowing today, but I went and checked the field and it was just, I probably coulda. I probably should have tried, but it's amazing how wet 2 inches of snow will make things when it melts off. And we're supposed to get more tomorrow. The other reason I didn't try was it was supposed to be raining by now and it's not, but they're still calling for it, so. But anyhow, this just showed up. This is what I went and got instead of going and chisel plowing. So yeah, this is the next project, which we'll have to get knocked out in relatively short order. Obviously we've all seen it before. This is actually the spreader. I was the last one to run this. This was one of the spreaders that I was using last spring before I found this and I quit using it. So obviously she needs a little bit of work. She's no chariot, but for $2,000 it was really hard to say no. Helena, at least the branch I've been dealing with, or the branch that I deal with, they've been saying for like the past 3 years that they've been wanting to get rid of their spreaders and get new ones. And a couple weeks ago I took my credit application down there and walked in, and Zach, one of the higher up guys down there, says, "Hey, we just found out 2 days ago that your spreader is for sale." So, and I had told him that I wanted this one specifically because this one is a wide web. So this one will not only spread fertilizer, it will spread lime. So no more having to track down a lime spreader when I need to spread a couple ton of lime too, or all my lime. So that's handy. But obviously she needs a little bit of work. All 4 bearings, actually the lower bearings might be okay, but we're going to change all 4, but all 4 bearings on the spinners are basically junk. The top ones are froze. Obviously the gearbox is out. I do not know if I can rebuild this one or if it is damaged beyond rebuilding. It was still working. It was spinning both spreaders just like this when I was using it. But I mean, seeing how crusty it is, I'd really just like to be able to buy a whole new gearbox and be done with it, depending on how much a new gearbox is. And I also, and Ryan, the other higher up guy down there, was going to look at the book for me tomorrow and tell me what model it is, because this right here is supposed to be the model sticker, and you can't read that anymore. All I know is it is a 6-ton, and you can't just call them up and say, "Hey, I got a 6-ton." And obviously in natural fertilizer fashion, it's got a little bit of crust going on, but there's no holes or anything like that. So she's going to be a work in progress, but the main thing we need to get done to make it usable, the web bearings, everything as far as the web and web drive is concerned is runnable as it is. The big thing we got to do is get the gearbox and spinners into some kind of shape. So I'm probably looking at just replacing all the pulleys on this thing, because there ain't no way that's coming apart. They're gonna be cut off, I guarantee it. The shafts we should be able to save, but them pulleys, them ain't coming off. Same thing with the bearings. I doubt saving the housings might be a thing, but it might be a chore, so we're just gonna have to see what kind of, or how expensive parts are before we decide if we're just gonna shit can them bearings completely or try to save them. But like I say, for $2,000 for a 6-ton spreader with hydraulic with the, remote hydraulic, whatever you want to call it, where you can run the web drive from the tractor, It's got the flotation tires on it. It's got Torflex axles on it, which I really like because the Torflexes on the spreader just ride like a dream. It doesn't beat the crap out of a tractor nearly as bad as the Springer does. The frame's in decent shape. The best thing to do with the frame probably going to be obviously get it usable for this year and next winter or something. Cut the box loose from the frame and take the box off and get the frame sandblasted and fix any spots that might need fixed, and then just paint the whole frame and be done with it. And it should never get to this state again, because obviously being a one owner, not getting swapped between a bunch of different guys that have no business running equipment and getting the crap beat out of it, and just general the beating they take being a rental spreader. Not having to live through that anymore, it should serve me pretty well, because it's obviously going to live a lot better life here than what it lived at a fertilizer dealer. I mean, they take care of them as good as they can, but when, I mean, these poor things just get beat to shit because renter's rule number one, it ain't mine. Actually, there's been a few times, and I think it's been this spreader, because it seems like I've used I think somehow I always ended up with this spreader because I always grabbed the one with the black tongue, because I always knew that one was in the best shape. But there's been a few years where I've had this thing for close to 2 months by the time I got fertilizer, or by the time I got everything spread that I needed to spread. And Ryan, the kind of the lead guy down there, would call me up every once in a while. Hey, you done with that spreader yet? I got some guys asking. I said, no, not really, but I don't have much left to spread, so if you need it, you can come get it, and I'll just wait till the next one's available. He's like, nah, I just needed to call and make sure that I call, and that way I could tell the guy that I asked and it was still being used, because the guy that, you know, the guys that are asking for it are, they're assholes and they're gonna beat the crap out of it. I just needed to call you and make sure that it was still being used, so you keep it. And that's also why I actually got first dibs when they decided that they were going to sell a few. I was the one that got talked to first about getting one, so that's kind of nice, which is why I don't really do any shopping around for fertilizer. I pretty much deal with them down there exclusively. It might not be the most financially responsible decision, but they take such good care of me down there that I'll pay a little more for the service that I get down there. Now, that being said, there's a few guys down there that I like dealing with, and if they ever leave, then I'll probably start shopping around a little bit. But until those guys quit, I like dealing with them, so that's who I'm going to deal with. And Teeter and Lily are over antagonizing the neighbor dog. So anyhow, we're gonna have to do something about that too, because that's gonna need to be adjustable. What the heck do they got going on there anyhow? Stainless screw, but whatever it was going into was not stainless. So like I say, it's gonna be a little bit of a work in progress. We just need to get it usable for this year, which shouldn't be that terrible, and then after that we can peck away at it and make her into a decent spreader again. But the big thing will be getting the box off the frame and getting the frame painted, and then probably turn around and make it where the box actually bolts to the frame instead of being welded to it. So yeah, and I felt kind of bad because I walked in the door down there to get it this afternoon, and I had to give him some shit because there was a brand new, they got a brand new John Deere row crop spreader last year, or the year before last. I think it was last year. Don't remember what model it is. I've never looked at it up close, or never paid enough attention to it to know what model it is. But then they got a twin to it that just showed up, like, I think he said they got it last week. I mean, brand spanking new John Deere row crop spreader, stainless steel box, rate controller. I think it was a dual product, like whole 9 yards. Just optioned out spreader. Hasn't had a grain of fertilizer dumped in the box yet. And I guess earlier this week they were, or not earlier this week, it's only Tuesday. End of last week, it was getting moved around the yard down there, and somebody backed it into a barn and did $14,000 worth of damage to the back of it. Brand spanking new John Deere spreader. But the reason I felt bad was I walked in the door and I was just giving Ryan some hell. I said, so at this price, does it come with a free load of fertilizer? I said, got these, keep getting these brand new John Deere spreaders showing up. I think I'm starting to think I'm paying way too much for the stuff I buy down here. And then he walks out grumbling. He shows me the bill. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. So anyhow, when we get the applicator done, which will hopefully be tail end of this week or this weekend, because now I got 2 cylinders sitting down there on the bench. So once those are on, the bar itself is going to be finished up lickety split, and I bit the bullet and just bought 2 brand spanking new 14926s for the cart, because I was getting impatient looking for used tires, and I got rims, and if I just bought the tires, it's done and over with, and I probably won't have to buy another set for it again, because I ain't gonna have that many miles on it. And so once those show up, and the cart will be done lickety split, and then that whole project will be done, and then we'll move on to this thing, at least get it tore apart, figure out what I need for parts, and then maybe while we're down waiting on parts for this, we'll move on to something else. But we got to start getting some projects moving. But this has to get done, because obviously, especially if the weather keeps the pattern it's keeping, you can probably honestly start spreading fertilizer about any time you wanted, really. So anyhow, this is the new fertilizer spreader. No more having to wait in line to get one and praying to God that it's not a falling apart pile of crap. So anyhow, that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.